What's up guys? Welcome back to our channel. My name is Dayna. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I'm Dayna and I'm an addict. I am in recovery, which means I am sober, and that means from alcohol, from weed, from any kind of mind-altering substance. And that includes weekends, holidays, the whole dang thing. Fun, I know. So I was 24 years old when I decided to get sober again. And I'm just going to kind of take you through my story and what my story was like. I'm going to leave out a lot of names. I'm actually still friends with a lot of people that I used and drank with. And I don't think most of them are bad people. And to this day, I still talk to them and still hang out with them. And then that it's not their story, it's my story. So I'm not going to like bash anyone or name call people. And yeah. I had a pretty normal life growing up. My parents got divorced when I was around 2, and I always lived with my mom, and my older brother later on went to live with my dad. And so I think like the most that affected me through that, and I always didn't think it really did affect me until I got older and realized that it did. But I think the biggest thing that really affected me was that I never got to grow up with my brother, and we'd only see each other every other weekend, and that was really hard for me. And I never went to school with him, or we knew some of the same people, but we just weren't that close growing up. And I think that's what affected me the most out of all of it. And I had a pretty normal childhood. I was very athletic, did soccer, dance, and then later on in high school I did cross country and track. And I first drank in middle school. I had to be like 13, maybe 12 or 13. I drank, and the very first time I ever drank, I was blacked out. And at that age, I thought that was like the whole point of drinking, was blacking out. And I had already experienced very soon, or very early on, that I was depressed. I had like depressed characteristics, and my parents, my mom and my stepdad, tried to get me help for that, and I did attend therapy, which I didn't really like to do, and I didn't feel that I needed to be there, but really I did. And later on I moved to high school, and I was in cross country and track, and had a really great group of friends. And I later on just drank and smoked. I think experimented with drugs and alcohol pretty regular, like a lot of kids my age were doing. And for me, I never really enjoyed drinking, and I liked smoking weed, and I wasn't really a drinker. I drank, but I just didn't really enjoy it. And later on, I got introduced to painkillers, benzos, pills, and that's where I felt like really connected. And sooner or later I just became disconnected with all the people that I was friends with. I quit all my sports. I quit dancing, which was like my first love, and I think that was like a really big red flag for my parents, and because those were all things I really, really, really loved to do, and for some reason I just lost interest like that. And so from that, I just kind of like went through a downward spiral, and I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that it was like the most miserable time of my life, because it wasn't. I had a lot of fun. And I think what happened for me is I had an emotional bottom, and I stayed there for a long time. And being at such a young age, that was kind of hard for me to understand what was really going on. But I was very depressed, very suicidal, and I think I kept that under wraps a lot, but those were thoughts and feelings that went through my head pretty much on a weekly, and I would write about it, I would journal about it, I would listen to music, and I was still, my parents had me in and out of therapy, and I just wasn't connecting to any of it. And pills for me made me feel secure. It made me feel confident. They made me feel like I was a normal person in society. I was good at doing drugs, and I had a lot of fun. And I think a lot of my friends were kind of experimenting with the same stuff, so to me it seemed very normal. And I think I just went down like a totally different road than everyone else, and I became like, not everyone's responsibility, but a lot of people were trying to like reach their hand out or take care of me or like kind of mother me and help me navigate my way through it and not get addicted. I think early on a lot of people like start to see that in me, and we were all kind of just partying, and it was never really talked about between all of us. Like, we were all just partying and all having fun. So yeah, so later on down the road, I graduated high school and everything was going all right. I had a job. I was a functioning addict. I was able to keep a job. And there came a certain point where my parents were just fed up. Like, they did not want to deal with my shit anymore. I was totally aggressive and like so mean to my parents, like so horrible. Sorry, I love you guys. No, I was just like so mean, like out of control. And my parents tell me stories, or that I would come home and be eating dinner and be like nodding out at the table and stuff. And I remember my mom saying like, where did that girl go? You know, like, where did Dayna go? And I was so resentful at my parents at that point, and I just didn't want to hear it. And so I pretty much told them to F off, and they told me if I wasn't going to get sober or get off drugs, then I wasn't able to live at their house anymore. And so this is something they kind of had said to me before, and at that point, I think I was 18, and I came home one night, and literally everything I owned was on the front porch, like down to my yearbooks and everything. And I knocked on the door, nothing. Called, nothing. Tried to break into the house, I couldn't break in. And at that point, I just packed up my car and I loaded it all up and shipped off, and I lived like out of my car on people's couches. And one of my girlfriends, well, she's like my best friend still, and her and her mom had offered me a place to stay, and her mom said, if you're willing to get off drugs, then you will be able to stay here. Kind of same rules as my parents had, and I was willing to do it because I didn't want to be homeless. And so the first day I was there, I was obviously on a detox from, my main drug of choice was Xanax. I dabbled in like everything, but Xanax was like my go-to. And the first day I was there, I tried to get clean, and I totally blacked out. We were on our way to sit at the dinner table in the kitchen, and I just collapsed and started convulsing. So I had a seizure like the first day I ever tried to get clean, and I think like at that moment I realized that something was wrong and maybe I had taken it a little too far. And the ambulance came, the fire trucks came, and I had to be admitted to the hospital. And that was my first time ever being hospitalized for my drug addiction, and I'm pretty sure I was 19 at that time. And between all this, I had lost a handful of really close friends of mine to drugs and alcohol, and I think at this moment I was like kind of realizing at where I was, and they let me come back and live at their house, and I did have a curfew, and I broke curfew, and I was out of a house again. And more down the road, like I had other friends' parents like try to help me out with different like living situations and stuff, and I just really couldn't pull any of it, and yeah, I just kept going in a downward spiral, and I didn't really know how to get sober and stay sober. And that same friend had moved to Colorado, and I had asked her if I could come out there and get clean, and she said, absolutely, come on out. And so her family once again let me drive out to Colorado to get clean, and I had packed up my car full of all my stuff, and my mom actually went out with me. And I went out there, and I tried to do like a geographical move, where I thought if I just moved away from the drugs, if I just moved away from my dealer, if I just moved away from all the people I hang out with, I could get sober and I'll be fine. That was not the case at all for me. I got settled in Colorado and had such an amazing life lined up for me, and I chose not to take it. And I chose to get on a plane, and I went to Santa Barbara for Halloween weekend, and I met up with one of my dealers and got a shitload of Xanax, and my plan was to sell it and get back to Colorado before like anyone really fucking found out. And I failed at that miserably, and I continued to party in Santa Barbara, and I remember, like, I don't remember much about what happened because I was on a sick one, but I do remember having a handful of pills and just saying, I just want to die. I just want to die. And I proceeded to take those pills, and someone found me on the curb, blue, and I was dying. And I'm so grateful that someone found me and called 911, and I was admitted to the hospital for an overdose. They brought me back. And that was one of the most fucked up situations of my life, and like, talk about fucking being ashamed and embarrassed and hopeless. I just remember going in and out of it, and people operating on me, and there's a whole bunch of different faces surrounding me, and I was going in and out of consciousness. And when I really came to, the nurse was just fucking done with my shit, and like, sorry mom, I'm cussing, I'm sorry. But anyways, she picked up my stuff, pretty much like threw everything at me. I got out of there, dangled my way back to Orange County somehow, and I showed up at my dad's front doorstep, and at this time he had no idea, or at least I thought he had no idea what was going on. And so I showed up, and that was it. It was pretty much, he like grabbed my stuff, searched my backpack, and I was so out of it. I mean, for like a couple weeks after that, I was just not even the same person. Like, that Dayna was far, far, far gone. And From there, my brother and my dad sat down with me and they said, either you could go be homeless somewhere and you're done with us, there's no contact with any of us, and we're done, or you could go to rehab. And so, somewhere deep down inside me, I knew that I needed to go to rehab, and I knew I needed help. I had tried to get sober on my own, and I failed time and time again. So it was time for me to check into rehab, and I did that. And I stayed there for 30 days, and when I got out of rehab, I thought I would be like cured, and that I would not want to use anymore, that I would be done with that life. And I was very wrong for thinking that. I went to sober living after that, and I started using again. And when I got to sober living, I got hooked on heroin, and that was like a whole nother downward spiral. And I did that for a few months, getting kicked in and out of rehab, or sober living, sorry. And finally, I just woke up one day and decided that I need to really do this for myself, or I'm gonna die. And I did it. I flushed the rest of my stuff down the toilet, and I was able to stay clean for 2.5 years after that. And those years, I moved to San Clemente, and I just remember, like, I honestly worked so hard on myself and was so proud of myself and doing so well, and had rebuilt a lot of relationships that I had crushed during my addiction, and I was just in such a good place. And I didn't think that in a moment's time, and I didn't think that in just a split second my life was about to change again. And I remember I kind of just had a reservation in my head and really wanted to drink. I had drank like really briefly after I turned 21, and then I was sober. But I just wanted to be a normal kid. I was so bummed that I like screwed up my life so much that I couldn't even go out to the bars and have a drink. And I obsessed over that thought for pretty much almost a year straight. And one day I just acted on it. And I had gone to a friend's house and I cracked a beer. And I remember sitting there and just holding on to that beer. I probably held on to it for a good 30 minutes. And I finally cracked it, and I started drinking it, and I was out for a year after that. And everything I had worked so hard for, all the morals I had built for myself, all the boundaries, all the healthy goals I accomplished, everything that I worked so hard for, and the person that I wanted so badly to become again, that I did become again, I was gone in a heartbeat, just completely gone, and I was back to the Dayna that I worked so hard to get away from. And for me, it just came to a certain point where I just kept waking up super depressed, and I knew what to do and I knew how to do it. It was just a matter of when I was going to be willing enough to do it. And so I finally decided after my, what birthday was that? My 24th. Yeah, I think. Yeah, 24th. My 24th birthday, I decided that I was gonna get sober again. And I got sober March 4th, 2014. And I've been sober ever since. And for me, I just realized that I can't obsess over the thought that maybe one day I could be a normal drinker. Maybe one day I could smoke a little bit of weed. I've tried that time and time and time again. Relapse is a part of my story, and relapse is a part of recovery. And I've tried it so many times, and it just does not work for me. And I really do truly love myself sober way more than I do when I'm drinking and using. It just doesn't work out for me. I'm not good at it. I have a really addictive personality and I just need to stay away. And to do that, so today I am extremely grateful to be sober, and I'm so happy I found that willingness somewhere in me to get sober and stay sober for all these years. And it's such a trip for me because it's weird that I've been sober that long. It's so weird. And that's a lot of days to be sober. And especially as a mom, like navigating my way through motherhood and being sober. And also just trying to be a normal person in society. And there's so many things I have to be grateful for today. I have an amazing family. I have an amazing relationship with my mom, my stepdad, my dad, and I'm just so grateful, honestly. And if you are struggling, or if you know anyone that is struggling, please reach out to me. I am so here for you. And all my info is down below in the info. And my direct email is down there, so please reach out to me. I am more than willing to help you, or just to be there to talk to. Email me, or my Instagram is down below and you can message me. And this is something you cannot do alone. I've tried time and time again to do it alone, and that's something I love about the program is there's so much fellowship, and I have amazing friends inside and out of the program. And I know other people get sober in a million other ways. I'm not saying this is the only way. It has worked for a lot of people, and for me it really saved my life, and I'm so grateful that I finally turned over my life. So if you guys like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments. What do you guys want to see? What do you guys want to hear from me? Do you guys like these sit down videos, or what's going on in your head? Because I don't know a damn thing. And yeah, leave me a comment. Introduce yourself. Let me know who you are. I would love to talk to you guys. And thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Bye.